on YouTube. As soon as I see that designation pop up, I will start talking. Welcome to the TDC Today Show communities. My name is Sue Roscoff. The Disability Channel, or TDC, is out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, showcasing abilities. TDC is committed to providing quality digital media production services, education, and employment programs by and for persons with disabilities and veterans. TDC offers digital media production, video production, post production, social media, and podcast creation, production, and support. TDC offers education and employment programming, which includes digital media courses to persons with disabilities who are unemployed and underemployed. TDC also offers community partnerships. Through partnerships and sponsorships, community partners and organizations become ability champions by supporting media created by and for people with disabilities and veterans. We are your USA team, and here with the USA crew, we've got some amazing guests tonight. I am so pleased to be introducing the group we have gathered is a power packed house here. So first and foremost, I will bring in the lovely Debbie Miller to introduce herself and say hello. How are you doing tonight, Debbie?
I'm doing, excuse me, I'm doing really well. It's raining cats and dogs here right now, so um, that's a good thing, but you never know what that'll do with your internet. So anyway, but I am here for the moment. I'm Debbie Miller with Prepaid Legal Services, Inc., which is Legal Shield and ID Shield, which is a fabulous way to protect your family and your small business with attorneys in your area at a very reasonable price, but also to have identity protection for you and your loved ones. Keeping your information safe is just essential in this day and age. And with Christmas 55 days away, and the Grinches are out there, let me tell you, trolling all over the place for easy pickings. And so I love to be able to help throw in a few curveballs for them so we keep our information safe and let them just find other people, I guess. But anyway, not to bother us and keep our families protected. So thank you, Sue, for having me.
Excellent. Always happy to have you here, Debbie. We have our next guest coming in is Michelle Cleveland. So happy to have you joining us here tonight and to share some resources that you have with all of us. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn it over to you so we can get some details. I'm so happy you're here.
Well, thank you for having me. It's my honor to be on the show. Project 24/7 is a new suicide prevention tool in development. We are creating an auto dialing app that will remove some of the friction involved in reaching out at that moment of decision when you're in crisis. I'm talking about, of course, suicide prevention. Suicide is a scourge and epidemic now. And what we want to do is make it easier for people to reach out to their friend group, not just an anonymous hotline. At every suicide funeral, you'll hear their friends saying, "Why didn't they call me?" Well, it's because there's friction involved. First, you have to go to your phone and scroll through your contacts and think of who to call. And then there's the inevitable excuses why not to call. It's too late at night. I don't know them well enough, right? So, how do you remove the friction? First of all, you make it an auto dialer. Once you activate this application that we're going to build, all it does is call those contacts one at a time, the ones you've pre-designated. Just the name of the application 24/7 is the reminder these people are going to be angry at your funeral that you didn't call them. So that removes that friction piece, right? You're not picking who to call. You already did that beforehand. And then, should there be a case that your friends aren't available, you will pre-select a hotline that you would feel comfortable calling, and it will automatically default to that pre-selected hotline. So once you activate the app, you're guaranteed to reach a live person. We know this is so important. Studies have shown that if you can get someone to talk at that moment of decision, almost 100% change their minds. And wouldn't it be even better that they got to talk to somebody who actually knows them?
That is a huge, huge thing in development that you have there, and you have a website that has information right now that people can utilize as well, correct?
Absolutely. You can set it up manually on your phone already by going to Project 24/7. That's the word project, the number 24, and then the word spelled out SEVEN.org, project247.org. And there's instructions on how you can set up a group in your contacts on either an Android or an iPhone, and just label that group 24/7 as your reminder. These are those people that want you to call anytime, any day. And then you have to actually dial those numbers in that group one at a time yourself. But it gives you that pre-selected list of people and your reminder that they want you to call.
That's one less thing to think about at that moment when yeah, you don't want to have to make decisions like that at that time. You've already made the decision of who can I call, and that right there is huge. Being able to reach out, like
Mhm.
Project Die Hard is something that's near and dear to our hearts, and that is all about preventing suicide in our veteran community because it is such a
Mhm.
prevalent, awful thing that it's a real statistic of how many are at that crisis point and are making that
Mhm.
decision. And it makes me wonder if they had this type of thing at their hands, what would this what difference would this have made for them? I think it would be so huge. So we will definitely be sharing this out and getting this in uh to be known and to be able to, it's one of those things. I share it with one person, they'll share it with somebody else, and to make it be a household known piece where people know where to turn. So I'm grateful that you have created this and that it is available. So happy to hear that, and
Yeah.
that we'll have that app coming that's in development, so it can be truly at our fingertips when that's needed. So thank you so much, Michelle, for being here. I'm going to go ahead, and we do have a couple more guests in the house as well. I'm going to go ahead and bring them into the conversation as well. Rob Ralston is a new friend on the block here. So happy that you chose to join us here tonight as well. And I know you are a life coach for special needs families. I wonder if you can share a bit about what it is that you do. And I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for joining us tonight, Rob.
Yeah, thanks for having me. My wife and I, we have a 23-year-old son with autism, nonverbal. So I'm taking everything that we've learned through all the years and helping the families that are neurodivergent and just however that shows up and just help them have a happy life with just a few stressful days with life coaching, with showing them that they're not alone, that there's lots of help out there, that all of us are worried. We have the same worries, whether our children are high functioning or low functioning, whether it's mental or physical, whatever type of disability, then I'm here to help them. And I'm a guide. I consider myself a guide. I help them. I say, well, what are you worried about today? And then I just let them tell me, and I sit on my hands. And as they tell the story, then they're arranging things in their head, and then they get a piece. Oh, I finally sat down with 30 minutes because somebody's watching a child or he's taking a nap, and then things align. Then I feed it, then I run it back to them, and more clicks come in, and we just keep doing that. And because the answers are inside of them, we don't have the answers. And I really love life coaching because in the beginning I thought, what if I give bad advice? And my teachers told me, you don't give advice. Therapists don't give advice. We listen because the answers are inside our clients. And then I love the training that says, Well, if you're going to give advice, you've got to tell them, look, I'm taking off my mentoring. Can I take off my coaching hat and put on my mentoring hat? Do I have your permission? So that tells you and that tells the client. And because in the beginning, people don't know what coaching is. And I have that in my intake, and they've never been to a coach and they're overwhelmed and they're getting it confused. So instead of buying the teacher, I want to be the guide and I just want to be their friend that's going to listen and not interrupt and not try to fix them. And if they get mad at us, then if we push them to do something that they're not ready for, then they can fire us and we'll be here when they come back. They can come back later or they can find another coach because I've got them ready. That guy was right and I'm too ashamed to go back to him. I'll try somebody else that I more connect with. He was on to something, but whatever works, fine with me.
Yeah, finding that piece that works for another person is challenging to say the least. And to be able to be in that, oh my gosh, we all need help along the way, right? If I can think of so many times in my life where it's like I need to talk to someone. I don't have all the answers myself. There's so many things I don't even necessarily know what I don't know yet. What questions do I need to ask to get to where I need to be here with my situation. And when a family finds himself in that situation where there's perhaps a new diagnosis, whatever's going on in the family, and they need someone to turn to. And I'm so happy to have you here to share that you are here, you're able to do that. And so if somebody is interested to reach out and ask you questions, how would they do that?
Well, they can go to my website. It's Life Coaching for Special Needs Families.com. It's special needs with an S and families with an S.com. And they can schedule an appointment or give me a call on the phone. The other thing, what I like to do is I'm the 24-hour coach. That what I want to do is that mom and dad work, that they call me when the child's having a meltdown. They just recovered. They left a restaurant. They're embarrassed. And so they call me and then I coach them through it. They call to celebrate. Their friends don't really understand this big milestone they just got. And I understand. And it's also, I'll say, well, let's do a few sessions. And then they, oh, you don't cover insurance? That's a lot of money. No, let's just have a few sessions and you call me anytime. And then they're going to get their money's worth because I can get them when they've got a great idea, they've got lots of sleep. Oh, I heard about this. Or they're dead tired and they don't know what to do. Either way, give me a call.
To have that friend in the pocket, oh, that can be such a blessing. So excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us here tonight, Rob. I know we've got Marianne of Waikiki in the wings here as well. I want to go ahead and bring her in and find out what is new in the world of Marianne. So glad you're here. How are you doing tonight, Marianne?
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, wonderful. Well, my name is Marianne Ambrose. I go by Marianne of Waikiki. It's my sign language name, my book author name, and I'm an Apple game developer. Rob, 30 some years ago, I was a case manager with the deaf in Grand Rapids, Michigan, at a mental health agency called Transitions Community Support Program. So I've been in your shoes as a case manager, working with mentally ill deaf adults, with a psychiatrist, putting them into adult foster care homes, some psychiatric treatment, others placement for AFC homes, and getting them bus passes to go to work at Goodwill and meeting with their counselor for employment reviews and social security disability reviews. And yeah, what a journey. And that's when President Bush signed the American Disabilities Act. And through my journey, I was injured, and I'm sharing this with you. I was sitting in a hotel lobby and the manager drove her SUV through the wall behind me. So I suffered from neck, back, broken ankle, and a hearing loss. And that happened in Detroit, Michigan. And I went back to Grand Rapids, Michigan to request a sign language interpreter at a disability review. And I was told that they didn't do that there. And I'm like, you're kidding me. Here I moved on to medical sales and as a top sales performer. And I'm denied a sign language interpreter. And then I said, well, obviously you weren't educated. And I have proof of an audiogram from the top ear, nose, and throat specialist in Michigan. My background's in audiology, and I can't hear, and I need an interpreter and I need an attorney. And again, they're like, well, we don't do that, and we don't have any money in the budget to do that. I said, yes, you do. And you're just trying to blow me off. And this is not right. So, needless to say, a civil lawsuit was filed and movement happened. And anyway, I continued my journey to follow Dr. Seidman at his events. And I was in California. I had two chiropractors that worked on me, and some of my hearing came back. And then I went to Hawaii with some other friends to fulfill my journey and dream. And I got out there and I got to stay through, and I went over and I met some people and I got to be a caretaker of a 45-foot sailboat. How cool is that? And I started going to the Unity Church of Hawaii for prayer and guided meditation. And I met Scott walking on Easter with his hearing aids. And I wasn't going to get involved with anybody because I'm on my own healing journey and getting chiropractic treatment. And needless to say, I ended up interpreting for him for over a decade. Now, how did this all work? My sailing instructor was a chiropractor. His wife was an acupuncture. So we went sailing, and yeah, so I became a Reiki master with him as well. And he lost his hearing at age 7, and he spoke very well, and very intuitive, very fun. What a joyful journey I had over there. And I asked what my next purpose was, and I was guided. I was going to write a series of children's sign language books with puppets, and I laughed. And I'm like, what? And needless to say, at the Ala Moana Mall, there was folk Manus puppets. There was a nice tree of them, and there was a chicken that I could put my hands and I could sign with it. And that's kind of how the story went. And living on the sailboat, all this garbage was floating around, and we wanted to know why. And it was coming from the Great Pacific Garbage Patch between Hawaii and California. So at the Unity Church of Hawaii, I met Suzanne Sims, and she helped me write our first book called Underwater Acts of Kindness, with a soundtrack by Lucy and the Perfect Wave. We'd both listen to her sing, and Scott could feel the vibrations of the musicians and the bass place. And anyway, we created this book to be brought into animation movies, and it features Noah, the hard of hearing whale, who is recruited by a sea turtle called the General of the New Earth Army to tackle the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Now, in the journey, he meets Dr. Fingers, a finger spelling hermit crab, and learns the ABC finger spelling alphabet. And Kurt is my puppet master here, showing these little mini folk manus puppets. And so the first book was launched. I got to do a sailing book signing tour, Southwest Florida to Virginia, and I came back, and Lucy came out with another album. And the idea was for Rabbit Acts of Kindness, No Bully, which we completed. And October is anti-bullying month, and we launched it yesterday. Tuesday was a sugar-free treat, so you could download this book. And a special education teacher told me about Donors Choose, and she requested 50 books of underwater acts of kindness. Now, she was funded in 2 weeks. So, guess what? Amazon sent the books out, the children read the stories, and I went out with a finger spelling alphabet puppets, and we talked about ocean cleanup, looking on the ground, finding 10 pieces of plastic at the bus stop, at the beach, etc. And what a great journey that was. And I met Leon McLaughlin then, and he was in town visiting from Clean Water Foundation. And I'm excited to share with you too that we just finished our fourth book for climate change. So our series of books are for ocean cleanup, anti-bullying, and climate change. And this features Waterflow, the whale, and who is a robot that delivers water units around the world, especially to an ostrich named Rich the Ostrich, which again, we have a soundtrack. So I'm really excited. This is like my big thesis. My vision is to bring these into animation movies with sign language characters, and no one has done that. And 3% of children's books have children or characters with disabilities. So this is a very limited population. And also, sign language is a solution for social spatial distancing and also for our autistic community too as well. So we created YouTube channel with a finger spelling alphabet doing the ABCs. And I'll finish up here soon here, Leon McLaughlin. I applied for Awesome Grant Foundation award and I won it in July. And we gifted the Hawaii School for the Deaf copies of the books copies of the books from Awesome Foundation, and Leanne was there to deliver a water unit value at $150. And there was water issues going around the island, especially with Red Hill and the Navy. A lot of military families were misplaced. So we got to launch this at the Hawaii School for the Deaf, and we want to multiply it to the other 49 states. So I am calling them, and I got to sail over here to Mexico where I'm at and taking care of my needs, physical needs. And I have a chiropractor that comes over and visit me at home, a massage therapist. So I'm not really signing anymore. It's just too much work. But also part of that grant, we hired Jay Stoyan from the Disability Channel, who hires on persons with disabilities and veterans to interview me for the last couple of months, and with Santa Papa John as their social media influencer. What a great team. Imagine that. So a few other things. We have 500 million people worldwide now with a hearing loss. We have millions of moms and dads coming home from being of service who can't hear their own children or grandchildren. So again, these books are written for animation movies with sign language characters. Now, you guys can apply for Awesome Foundation grants. They're in different cities, they're in different countries, Canada, Pakistan, Brazil. And there's on the water, Kurt. And have you applied? Have you insert applied to get $1,000 to take persons with disabilities out? And they have a disability chapter too that you have to apply on the 1st through the 10th of every month. So that's my journey. That's my story. That's my glory. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. Aloha. I'm Marianne of Waikiki.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marianne. And I know Kurt has joined us. I want to go ahead and give you a chance to say hello. How you doing, Kurt?
Doing episode runs Community Pay It Forward. And he's Community Pay It Forward has a program called ACT, All Come Together. And we're working with Zach Clayton to produce a 37-hour recording that'll be played on December 24th, going into December 25th. And it's all about a miracle when a miracle with a community that cares. So that's what it's all about, folks. And when I talk about community building, I talk about how we check in with our faith community, our volunteer community, our lifelong learning community, our government community, civic community, all the stuff that happens there, our business community, and the community of where all the fun can happen when you say, we work to live. Well, what's living it to you? So offline from the channel, Sue and I and Emily and other people, we're involved in things like with the Happy Neighbor Project where some of us met. And just before coming on here to produce this show, I was with a group called The Open Mind. And so it's with great pleasure today on October 30th that it's a day where I started the day with Michelle and I get to end the day with Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. You're like the bookends to my day today. Very good. So ladies and gentlemen, there is no limit to what we can do together. We are now partnered with Treasure Island, which will be premiering 2025, a show out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And with that, we are doing an offshoot co-venture together with our kids, our veterans, our pets. And that's going to branch off into a lot of other great things that come from the work that we do here, including our educational platform, Digital Ventures, where we teach people how to do what we do, producing these TV shows, cross training into radio, and all things with podcasting, multimedia, working with Canva, and we're in this day of AI, and how it all fits together that people can be empowered as an individual to get into companies and own and run a company, in what we inspire and train and help people comprehend through digital ventures. And then we're going to be doing Invictus Games in February. We're going to be interviewing Prince Harry, up in Whistler, Canada, where our injured and wounded veterans get to play sports up there in the Vancouver market. We've got a lot of exciting things going on. We've got a lot of awesome people, tons of talent. I hope you enjoyed who we had here for you tonight. Back to you, Sue.
Awesome. What a great group we have here. I absolutely love the opportunity to share you all with everybody who is watching here at the Disability Channel. I do want to just take one moment to go around the room and just, if everybody has a brief thing to share as a take-home message, as a final thought, as maybe a way to contact you, whatever it is that you would like to leave us with tonight, we'll just take a moment to go around the room. So actually, Michelle, if I could start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again so much for having me here. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and your audience. 3 words: smile, hug, and call. Those are the most important things to do every day. Just smile at somebody you never know who needs it the most. Hug somebody. 20 seconds is a therapeutic hug. It really is life-changing. And call somebody. Reach out to somebody that you've been meaning to call, not just on Facebook. Really reach out. Pick up that phone and dial and have a conversation. You never know who needs it. They don't want to let their community know when they're struggling, when someone is suicidal. You never know who's really not okay. So reach out. Smile, hug, and call every day. You'll save a life.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. And Debbie, I'm going to pass the baton to you next.
Well, thank you for having me as well. I love being here. I'll just leave a message of leave your family a roadmap and not a scavenger hunt.
Excellent. Reach out to Debbie and find out just how to do that. And Rob, I'll pass it to you next. Final thoughts?
Yeah. Well, with my autistic son who's sitting there, Josh, you're inside there. You may not be able to speak, but there's a lot of things that you can do that mom and dad were discovering. So never underestimate your child. When you speak about them, invite them into the conversation, even if they don't speak or you don't think they understand. They're part of the team. So be happy and don't give up hope. They're in there.
Excellent. Thank you again so much for joining us tonight, Rob. Marianne, final thoughts from you.
Well, our tagline for the Acts of Kindness series, actsofkindnessseries.com is "So go out and play." So I encourage everybody, please take a look at the YouTube channel, the Acts of Kindness series. I encourage you to learn the 26 letters of the finger spelling alphabet. You'd be surprised what your hand can do. We're born in this world in diapers. We may be in diapers again. Nursing homes, this is great family fun interactions. We have the books and coloring books